Thank you so much for joining me today. This is real special for me because normally when I do these, I never have the opportunity to interview a cinematographer for really anything. So I think this will be my first time. So I've been looking
Awesome.
forward to it.
I'm
Um,
honored to be the first.
yes. So the film was, and I told Corey, the director, when I spoke with him earlier in the week, that I thought the film was beautifully shot. That was one of my first comments about it. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I've watched it twice now, and even if I hadn't enjoyed the film, it would have been worth watching it just the sheer fact of how beautiful it was. It was very vibrant. Everything just stood out, and um, just like the scenery felt like it was a character within itself. And everything now is in 4K Blu-ray, so I just cannot wait to see this on the big screen or a larger TV to really get that full effect. But just watching on a computer, I can tell you, beautiful.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And you hit the nail on the head. Like from the beginning, Corey was talking about how the Woods is sort of this third character. I mean, it's a two-person cast. It's a tiny cast. So ideally, you really get to know them, but ideally, you also really get to know the Woods, which are Hannah, the mother's homeland. It's where she grew up and where her family's been for a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
So that was the idea: make it a character.
Yeah. Well, you succeeded, and I mean, your location, the scouting of it was great. And then before we get into really too much into the film, how did this become part of your life? Film, photography, where did this all start for you?
In high school, I was very into theater and photography. And as it came time to apply for undergrad college, I was like, wait a minute, theater plus photography equals cinema. So so it was sort of an epiphany, and I applied to film school, pretty sure that was what I wanted to do with my life, and it turns out I was right, so I was lucky there. In undergrad, I very quickly realized I wanted to be a DP because it was the most, meshing of those two things that I loved. Certainly, it's the closest to the photography aspect of it. And yeah, I worked as a camera assistant for a couple of years towards the end of school. I took all the lighting and camera courses I could. Shot my friends' films in school, and then when I got out of school, I worked for about 8 years as a lighting technician and worked my way up to gaffer. So I learned how to run a crew and how to light. And then about 7 years ago, I decided it was time to shift, on to DPing because that was always the end goal. So here I am.
Very good. And I have one of my best friends. He did photography in high school, and and I never really got. I mean, I just thought, oh, it's just photography, and then now as I'm older, I'm appreciating it more. And there's just so much more to it than just clicking the camera. Just like you said, lighting with just everything. So I think it's amazing when someone just takes that beautiful photo or they, produce that beautiful film. There's just so much more to it. And I
it's a lot of moving parts. It's kind of a miracle that any film gets made. All the parts come together.
Yeah, that and the editing. I appreciate editing now more than ever. There's so much. Were there any films made that kind of made you want to pursue this career?
That is a great question. I would say my sister introduced me to a Tod Haynes film called Velvet Goldmine when I was in high school, and that's the film that made me realize that cinema didn't have to be a realistic medium. I think oftentimes it's certainly in like the Hollywood realm of things, it's treated as if the audience is supposed to suspend disbelief and think that what we're seeing was actually happening, even though Indiana Jones couldn't really do all the stuff he does. It doesn't matter. It's sort of like couched in this you have to believe. Yeah. But Velvet Goldmine is really Tod Haynes is just throwing that out the window and saying this is a fantasy. And when I realized that cinema could do so many other things than what I had seen it do in my childhood, that's when I think that it really made me want to pursue this.
And is there anybody in film, maybe a director or any other cinematographers that you would love to work with or have a dream to work with?
Oh,
Or is there anybody that inspires you, any individual?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people inspire me. Of course, the great Roger Deakins, wonderful cinematographer. Ellen Curris, Maurice Alberti, who shot Velvet Goldmine, as well as The Wrestler, and some of the things I really love her work. And Sven Nykvist, who shot for Tarkovsky and Bergman. Yeah, something about his where the way he sort of nails otherworldly images. I think that's always inspired me.
I think it's amazing that someone you can watch films and not even know who's involved, and just by watching it, it's like they leave their footprint, and then you know exactly who it is without even someone telling you.
Yeah,
that's when you know you've done it, you've mastered it. As far as shooting, do you prefer to shoot feature films, documentaries? Have you done music videos? I think maybe you have. Not too certain.
Yeah. I haven't done a music video in a number of years because I've been sort of working on the transition more into long form narrative. But I'd say when I switched from when I was working as an electrician and a gaffer, I mostly did feature films, tier movies. So I did sort of larger productions, and some commercials. And then when I switched to DPing, I was trying to sort of working in commercial and music video, sort of trying short form projects where you can meet a lot of different directors and get on a lot of different projects quickly, and sort of build up your reel and your network, and then sort of use that as a stepping stone to move on to long form narrative. But yes, I did used to shoot music videos, and still shoot a lot of commercials, and still shoot feature documentaries, which I do love. But long form narrative, like features and TV, is sort of the end goal.
True. Yeah, documentaries, I mean, there's a lot. Like, I think they're kind of making a comeback because with all the streaming services, it just feels like more so instead of someone saying to me, "Hey Ryan, have you seen this movie or this show? Hey, have you check out that documentary? It was just on Netflix or just on Paramount." So that's really cool.
And with the writer's strike, there's probably going to be even more.
Yeah, that is. How's that been affecting you? Has it slowed down on anything you might be working on?
Yeah, I think I would actually say that the writer's strike is really just the tip of the iceberg. The industry has been slow for months now, and it all comes down to the studios need to find a way to make the economics of streaming work for the industry.
No, that makes sense. I mean, we've seen a shift in everything over the years. We had our VHS rentals, when we shifted to DVD, and now we're moving away even more so from physical media, which that's kind of worries someone away because there's so much nostalgia attached to physical media. So hopefully it doesn't go away completely. I'm kind of worried.
I kept my prize VHS tapes there.
Yeah,
they're still around.
No, I do have a few in a box in the garage. I do still have a few, and I do have one VCR that I know works, and that's also in a box just in case.
Nice.
So for this film, Esme My Love, there was a scene in the water with the main characters. Can you describe what that process was like and how challenging it might have been? It came out very well, but it had to have been a challenge, I'm sure.
It was super challenging. I mean, anything underwater is challenging, but we had, at the time, Audrey, our actress, was 9, and wasn't terribly comfortable in the water. We, on our last day of principal photography in upstate New York in Hague, we tried to shoot it in Lake George, off of a dock in a shallow area. And, we sunk a lot of time and money into taking a boat out to this island where there was a good dock, and we got some good stuff on land in that location. But when it came time to do the underwater stuff, the water was too murky. You couldn't really see anything. The underwater housing had a leak in it. I mean, we didn't actually get the scene. There's little bits cut into the scene there that we could get, but the actual like seeing anything underwater didn't work out. So what wound up in the film is a pickup day at my friend's family's pool, where we blacked out the sides of the pool with large rags.
Yeah, so you figured it out though.
Yeah, I mean, when your production schedule starts at only 13 days to shoot a 100-something page script, pickup days are they're gonna be crucial.
And by mentioning the swimming pool, it reminds me, I know Jaws, when Spielberg did that pickup shot, there's a famous scene of Ben Gardner's head coming out of the the bottom of the boat, and that was filmed in his editor's swimming pool. So
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
That's so good.
He wanted to get one last scare in, I think that's what it was, and it went over budget, over everything went wrong with that film, so he did it in the swimming pool. So
yeah,
great.
Yeah, pickups are. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to, have an editor make an assembly or a rough cut, put things together, and then you can know, when you had so little time in principal photography to now know exactly what you need, it can be really powerful.
Most definitely. And what are you working on anything right now in particular? Anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, because the industry is unusually slow right now. I think a lot of people are taking the time to make the short films they've been dreaming about for a while. So I'm working with some awesome directors, some of whom I've worked with before, some of whom I haven't, who are taking the lull to make some short films that I'm actually excited about. Yeah,
that's really cool. And do you where can people find you? Do you have an Instagram? I'm assuming you do because of your photography. I'm hoping you do.
I do. I'm not the most active on Instagram, but it's just Fletcher_Wolfe with a little camera, little film camera symbol.
You have a website or anything you showcase any of your work on?
Yeah, I have a website. It's FletcherWolfe.com.
Perfect. And I'll go ahead and I'll link.
Wolfe is spelled with an E at the end.
But again, thank you so much for speaking with me today. This was definitely really something special for me. And hopefully, I wish you the best, and I can't wait to see more of your work. Esme My Love will be out next month, so I'm hoping it's going to draw a lot of attention. The two actresses were great. Corey was great, and it really came together. And like I said, beautifully shot.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And, it's available June 2nd, streaming. Yes. Amazon, Apple, Google, Tubi, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much again. And hopefully I'll get to talk to you again soon someday.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.